This is the third video in the Healing the Mother Wound series, where we talk about the mother's role as empowerer. I've already discussed in the previous videos the mother's function as nurturer and as protector. These are kind of the assumed feminine qualities that we expect from a mother, from a woman, from feminine energy in general, right? When we go into the role of the mother as empowerer, however, it's not a common association that we put with being a woman or with having feminine energy, because we live in a patriarchal society where it's kind of assumed that masculine energy or men are the ones who are empowered, right? We have so much, gender inequality, like wage discrimination, and just the abuse that is kind of okay, right, for women to undergo in society. Like, the Me Too movement and things like that have been kind of controversial because it's kind of perpetuates this idea that women need to continue to stay quiet, right? That's what this whole speaking up movement is about. Time's Up movement and things like that. It's about women gaining that voice back and empowering themselves, and you still have a lot of people that's like, stay quiet. And that's exactly part of this mother wound that desperately needs healing. So, in the previous videos, I do talk about men with the mother wound. I probably won't be talking too much about men in this episode, though, men definitely need to learn how to feel empowered by using emotions. That's their weakness. I mean, there's power in both masculine and feminine energy. They're just manifested in different ways, right? So I'm not going to talk too much about men with the mother wound in this episode. I think probably in a nutshell, the best advice for that would be, men embracing vulnerability, because there is strength in vulnerability. There absolutely is strength in vulnerability. It gives this passion to fight, right? And we forget that women have been the backbone of so many revolutionary movements, and then when it's time to fight for women, everyone's just quiet. But when women were fighting for their men, whether they were holding it down during times of war or the civil rights movement, women have always been there for men, because they have this power. It comes from that emotional feeling, this intuition, this vulnerability that gives this urge, this reason to fight. Yes, men are told, to be assertive and not to cry and things like that, but the power behind any such force like that is the power to feel. It adds a depth to what we are fighting for, right? So, men, not really gonna talk to you too much in this video. However, I do still urge you to watch it. Like I said, in probably the introduction video, the mother wound is a wound that's not talked about, and because it's not talked about, it is damn near a silent killer, just like high blood pressure is considered a silent killer, right? So because we don't talk about this, and because it's hidden, it continues to be a problem. The point of the series is to raise awareness so that at least we're talking about it, at least we're looking at this wound, because yes, it exists. And at the very least, this series helps people not feel so alone, because talking about the mother wound is something that is a taboo. So we don't so we feel like we're the only ones going through these feelings, and when we're not. It's actually a very large generational wound. So it affects many societies, and it's been affecting many societies for centuries. So the woman or feminine energy as empowerer, why is this such a pervading problem, besides the fact that we don't talk about it, is because of patriarchal society. We live in a patriarchal society, right? Men are the breadwinners and women stay home and homemakers, and religion is patriarchal. God is considered to be a man. And honestly, I don't believe that God is neither male or female. The idea is that God is both. There is no duality, right? So anyway, kind of getting off topic on that. But the gender roles that we have for men and women: men gotta be strong, you can't cry, you have to make the money, you have to provide, you gotta do this and this and this, right? And then women, you're supposed to be submissive and passive and cross your legs and do this. And so when we do that, when we give people gender roles, we literally tell that soul, this soul that is exactly like God, who is both male and female, and we tell that soul to repress half of itself, hide 50% of yourself, because you're not supposed to be that in society. Man, you can never cry. So if you're ever seen crying in public, or if you're just ever seen crying in general, I mean, you're weak, and that's what women, if we want to empower our men, the best way to do that is not making him feel ashamed for his vulnerability. He's allowed to feel upset. Shoot, if anything, I would, it's admirable what a man could feel and have emotions, because it's going to, number one, it makes him more sensitive, more compassionate, and it gives him a reason to fight for something. Because if anything, men have the right to fight. Men are told that they can fight. Men have the aggression since childbirth, because they are raised with this masculine gender role. So they're exactly who we need to fight. But if they don't even feel for other people, if they don't even understand what women go through feeling disempowered, this urge to fight goes absolutely nowhere. It's like they don't even, if you don't have any feeling, then you just really not going to care. You could just walk around here like a machine and just work 9 to 5, and what can you really get done without feeling? And women were taught that we're weaker because we have so much emotions, and I'm going to talk about that a lot. Women who don't feel like they are empowered feel like they don't have a voice to express themselves. They can't express themselves. They feel unaccomplished. They feel like they can't create the life that they want, right? Because, women, what are we told that what we're supposed to do? We're supposed to make babies, That's kind of what people think our role is. Women are so much more powerful than a breeder, like we're not dogs. We can create wonderful masterpieces of art and beautiful things. Why is it then that we're not really acknowledged for that? I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later, because everything is gonna tie into just becoming more whole. But other ways that women who aren't empowered, symptoms of this will be feeling like they're minimized, like they're small. We have to keep ourselves like that, right? Aren't we as women taught we need to keep ourselves small? We do it so that we don't threaten men. We do it so that we don't threaten other women. We've done it so that we don't threaten our mothers. We've kept ourselves small for our mothers. A lot of us daughters feel like because our mothers sacrificed so much for us, we have to sacrifice our best potential, our highest potential for them. This is why, okay, I know this friend who wanted to be a singer, right? And their mother didn't have such good luck as a singer. And then she had babies, and then all her dreams seem to have been put on hold. So that idea kind of passed down to the daughter that she too can't do that. And that's what I mean when I say we minimize ourselves, we keep ourselves small because of the sacrifices that our mothers made. This is a way that we take away our power. No one gives or takes away our power. We give our own power away. We can diminish our power, but no one can take that from us. Even as a daughter, and we try to be good enough to take care of our mothers, but not too good that we surpass what they have accomplished. When we do that, we minimize ourselves. We lessen our potential. We are not working up to our highest potential. We sacrifice from ourselves, and then we take our own power away from ourselves. So this could lead to us as women who don't feel empowered. We could feel dependent on someone else. Often we feel dependent on a man because the man so naturally exudes this masculine energy that at the end of the day we look for what is lost in ourselves, right? So when we get to have a connection with someone, we have that connection with someone because we yearn for a part of themselves that we see in us but that we can't express. So if we're attracted to the opposite sex, we're attracted to that opposite energy that they have. Men too. Men who has a repressed female feminine energy, they are most likely attracted to women because, you know, they have this emotional vulnerability, and men are taught that they can't have that. So that's when actually things like misogyny, abuse, things like that come into play, because now a man expects the woman to provide for them emotionally, take care of their needs emotionally. That's a heavy burden, especially as a woman who feels so much. To feel those energies too, it's a lot. And one that I like, this symptom of women who don't feel empowered, because it's such a powerful one, because we really forget the creativity, the creative power of sex. I mean, there's babies that are created from sex. Whole human babies are coming out of a woman's body. Yet we are made to feel small sexually. Women, oh my gosh, we not only do men look at a woman and say to determine that they are a tramp or a slut because of what they wear. Not only do men do that, but now women put down other women, saying, oh, look how she's dressed. Oh, I'm sorry, that is a really disgusting thing for me. I abhor that. I don't dislike or hate people. I abhor that quality trait, though, that we judge women off of what they wear. We even get mad at celebrities like Amber Rose and whatnot for the slut walk, correct? The whole point of these things is to raise awareness that we try to keep women sexually small. And then we idealize women who embrace their sexuality. So we find it hot when women like Angelina Jolie or Michelle Rodriguez or whoever, Halle Berry, can make sexy look appealing. But then if the same woman, if you just saw a woman who did things that you see in Hollywood movies, if you saw a woman walking down the street, you're going to probably say that she's a whore, you know? So these are symptoms of how we keep our women small, and thus feeling like they're not empowered. When I talk about empowerment, it's something that we do attribute to masculine energy. So in an umbrella, because I'm going to talk about several ways of being able to empower ourselves, but under an umbrella, basically, to feel empowered, women, because I said I'm talking to people who mostly have feminine energy. If you have mostly feminine energy, you have to balance out your masculine energy. It is absolutely crucial if you want to feel empowered, if you want to create something of value in this world. Because women, we have dreams, right? We have dreams. We want to write a book. We want to make a next Picasso. We want to become architects and astronauts, and we want to do all these creative things. And then we're told we can't do that, you know? So what we need to do is just balance out our masculine energy in an umbrella. And I'm going to give examples of how to do that. First off, boundaries. Because that's something I've been talking about in every video, right? Thus far, I've been talking about boundaries. Same thing goes for empowering ourselves. It's often that we could think that we are being taken advantage of and it comes from a lack of having a lack of boundaries. We're often scared to say no and not feel guilty and ashamed for it, right? We have to do what we want sometimes. As women, we've been taught that we have to be so self-sacrificing, right? Because we've seen it in our parents. Our mother. Oftentimes we've seen our mother, crying in the room, just has to put so much on herself and no longer even knows what they want because they have to do so much other things, things for other people. That comes from, this self-sacrifice comes also from not respecting and being authentic to yourself. You're being so authentic and true to a role that you play. As a mother, that is a role that you play. Imagine if, you have a job at McDonald's, and because you have this job at McDonald's now, that's what you do 24/7, 365, is being a McDonald's employee. It's unrealistic. You have time to do other things. You're not working 24/7. And it's the same thing with being a mother. Take that hat off of being a mother and put on the hat of you wanting to be that, open that restaurant, And I mean, women, we could be so creative with ideas, and then when it's time to actually implement them, to create them, we come across an obstacle and then we fall flat, So we need to increase that masculine energy, because masculine energy, there was a man the other day at the park. He doesn't even know this kid who fell off his bike, and he's telling him, "Get up, man. You're tougher than that. Get back up on that bike and try again." That's things that we need to understand as women. We need to, as far as boundaries go, we need to express ourselves just like men do. I mean, if a man doesn't want to do something, he has no problem telling you, "I don't want to do that." So, women, we need to, all right, if we don't want to do something, it's okay. Take off that hat. You don't have to be this person who sacrifices, who always has to be there for someone, who always has to be a mothering figure. You don't have to do that all the time. Take off that hat and just say, I want to honor the spirit within me that's creative and whole. I can't be this martyr all the time. I can't be this mother all the time. I think there was an episode of Will and Grace where it was like she kept comparing the word martyr and mother, and she acted like she was confusing the two. And it's very true, right? Our mothers are martyrs. They self-sacrifice, and how it hurts us as far as the mother wound is concerned is that we think that we have to do that too, and we don't. Because as much as we like to think that it's honorable to be self-sacrificing, it's really not that honorable, because that's where the mother wound comes in, when our mothers start to resent us and make us feel guilty and shame and anxiety. But I mean, honestly, to give our mothers the benefit of the doubt, they do that because number one, they want to live their life through you, because they can't live their own life. They feel like they can't live their own life. They feel like they have babies, so they have to be a mother 24/7. And it's a tough role to have to wear all the time. It's not fair. So learning to say no, boundaries, is a great way to help build that masculine energy. If you've been wondering how to balance out your masculine and feminine energies, having boundaries, it'll make you feel more empowered, because if you show people how they could treat you, and if you tell people how they could treat you, and when you enforce it, that's when people have respect for you. And now people won't be able to take as much advantage of you, right? At the end of the day, if you don't have boundaries, people are gonna run through. Imagine getting mad at a dog for running outside of the yard when the yard wasn't fenced in. People are gonna go as long as you allow them. Set up boundaries, enforce them. Without shame, without guilt, without anxiety, without feeling bad and, oh, did I do the right thing? Because men, I'm telling you something right now, when men enforce a boundary, they don't feel guilty about it. They really don't. You don't have to be self-sacrificing all the time like we learned from our mothers. You don't have to do that. Let's see. Seeking power outside of us. When we seek power outside of us, that in turn, that makes us feel disempowered, honestly. Because it's this notion, it reinforces this belief that you can't have power, that you can't create your own power, that someone gives it to you. You know, a lot of times when we're vulnerable, you know, we want to go to someone else for strength. So, or what if we're in a tough predicament? You know, let's say you're in a work situation and something's just really bugging you and you don't even know how to have control of yourself. So the way that you try to get control is you try to go to an authority figure, and now you come into them for every petty little problem that you have. That disempowers you. I've seen a lot of women just, you know, call the cops too on just little things, just always, you know, want to threaten cops, and it's this inability for them to feel power from within themselves. In this kind of situation, all you have to do is gain control of yourself, because at the end of the day, that is all that you can control anyway. And when you feel in control of yourself, automatically everything else in your world has become a lot easier to handle, because you're in control of yourself. You understand that you can't control how someone else treats you, or what someone else does, what someone else thinks. You can't control how someone perceives you, but all you can do is control how you feel and how you control yourself. An example of this, because I talked earlier about women who aren't feeling empowered, you know, minimize themselves and make themselves feel small and things like that, right? Because they don't want to intimidate other women, they don't want to intimidate men, so they keep themselves small. So just like that, I think I forgot that. Okay, so I got it back again. So we have this notion of feeling small, right? So when we want to try to control how others perceive us, because we're trying so hard not to look like one thing, we're trying so hard not to intimidate this person, make someone feel bad like this, whatever. So we're now trying to control other people. When we're trying to control other people, we lose focus of trying to control ourselves, right? It makes us feel weaker. I'm a type of person, because I didn't like intimidating my mother. I didn't want my mother to feel smaller or lesser than, just because of me, you know, a young version of her. So I hid myself, I hid my potential, and it was a habit that I ended up bringing up with other women. And I would make myself, you know, seem small, and I won't want to take care of myself, won't want to nurture myself, because if I did that, then I would intimidate other people, right? I would feel like, you know, they would think that I'm stuck up and conceited and vain and things like that. And also I felt like I would give them the impression that I was better than them. And I didn't want any of those to be true. I didn't want to be perceived like that at all. However, me trying so hard to control how other people felt about me, I lost control of myself. I lost control of the only thing that I can control. And then when my plan with trying not to intimidate people still didn't work, and I didn't feel like I was in control of myself because I wasn't honoring the true person within me, now I feel like I've lost control of everything. And when you don't know how to gain that power back, it makes you feel vulnerable. You want to cry, you want to be upset, and then you want to run away, or you just want to get authorities because you don't know how to get that power back. To get that power back, you just start worrying about yourself. You just say, I can't control what's outside, but you know what? I'm going to honor the real me. I'm going to honor the me within, the soul within me. And when the time comes to deal with whatever drama over there, because I'm in control of myself, I would handle that much better. I just brought up about being vulnerable, right, and crying. Remember when I say that we're balancing our masculine and feminine energies for healing our mother wounds, we have to understand that, especially in this topic of being empowered, it's not weak to cry. I have balanced my masculine energy a great deal since into my work of the mother wound for like the past few months. It's probably been a lot longer than that, but it's been a very conscious, active working on my mother wound. So I've greatly improved my masculine energy. And you know what I've had to learn from experience is that balancing your masculine energy does not mean that you will never cry again. It doesn't mean that at all. In fact, I still cry. But you know what I don't do anymore? I don't get stuck in that depression. I don't get stuck in those feelings and those emotions. So if you saw that bird, that's how true it is. I don't get stuck there anymore. I cry, and it's wonderful because it's a release, and it allows me to feel a passion, and then I stop crying and I focus. All right, what am I in control of here? What can I do to get through this? What is my lesson? I plan, like a male would do, right? A male plans things. He wants to do something. All right, let's get a plan in action. It's the same thing with using your tears to overcome problems. They don't make you weak. They can make you stronger if you balance it with the masculine energy to rise from the ashes. That's how true it is again. That's why I love being in the park. I'm sorry if it's a little loud, but I do love the park so much. Seeking validation from others outside of us is another way that we try to get power from outside of us, right? When we're trying to seek anything from outside of us, really, in reality, we should understand that we want that from ourselves. So if we're seeking validation from someone else, hey, does this dress look good on me? When we seek that validation from ourselves, really, our psyche just wants to know how we feel about it. How do you feel about it? It doesn't matter how others feel about anything that you're doing. You don't need validation from others. You just need to live the most authentic version of you there is. Live as you want to be, because you will end up attracting what you fear the most. What you try so hard to resist will persist. So be authentic to who you are. Be who you are, because you're going to thereby attract more authentic people like you. And that's a beautiful thing, because you guys will naturally encourage each other to be who you are. And that's beautiful. That's empowering. There's power in numbers. Just attract the tribe that you want to attract. You have to be the change in the world that you want to see. It's very true. Who said that? And I just read that quote again the other day. I'm sorry, I forgot who said that. But please write a comment if you do know. I like this. Another way of feeling empowered, because I said that men and women, or masculine and feminine energy, has different ways of having power, right? Men do it from their assertive nature. Men are naturally assertive. Women are more naturally passive, right? So, women feel empowered from their intuition. That's our gift, is emotion and feeling, intuition. And a lot of times we want to think that that's being vulnerable, and there is no power in that. However, it's like one of the most primal instincts. If you think about a deer, and how a deer, could just feel, just feel when there's a hunter around. And, more often than not, they get away, a deer, more often than not. I mean, if it's a skilled marksman, then, but even animals who, like cows who, lay down when bad weather is coming. Things like that. There's this intuition that's innate in all of us. As women, though, we're taught not to trust our feelings. Our feelings are often invalidated. Especially someone like me, I feel energies a lot. Most people will call it empathic. And because I feel these energies, I kind of know what someone feels or thinks about me before it even manifests in the real world. Meaning, I would know that someone dislikes me before I need them to do something literally in the physical world that would prove that they dislike me. These are all instinct. This is intuition. This is how we feel empowered. However, when we don't validate our own reasoning, when we don't validate our intuition, because masculine energy is more reasoning, right? Masculine energy is powerful because of their ability to see logic. Women, we just know, right? We just have this know. We just know that something's up. We just know that something is about to happen that might not be so good, right? We just know these things. And we're often invalidated for these feelings, and we've probably been invalidated since kids. How many times has a parent or an adult figure told us, "I'm the adult, I know better"? These are reasons why we don't listen to our gut anymore, or we don't listen to that instinct, and we feel disempowered because we're trying to listen. We want someone else to confirm what we feel, but no one could feel what you feel, so no one can validate what you feel. You understand? You can't get that kind of validation from someone else. If you feel like there's trouble or danger or like you should do something or shouldn't do something, if you feel that, you don't need someone else to validate for you and to say, what, I think you're right, in order to do it. If you feel it, that's good enough for you. Because think about how much more empowered you're going to feel when you did listen to your gut, irregardless of what others said, and you were right. Now that's how you feel a little bit more empowered. So that is a feminine way of increasing our power. Because I did say mostly balancing out that masculine energy, right? So, I think that's all that I really need to say about empowering, and being empowered. Balancing out your masculine energy. I even talked now about the feminine energy being used to empower you by listening to your guts and intuition. Essentially, healing the mother wound is just about becoming your own mother. So as I talk about these different functions of the mother, I hope it gives you ideas of how you could prepare, how you could be that for yourself, right? How can you empower yourself? You would have expected your mother to empower you in certain ways, right? And it just most likely didn't happen, because the empowerment and the initiation, which is next week's video, those two topics those two functions of the mother has been really diminished in these times. Just more expecting that, the mother's role of nurturing would be a little more on par. Even, the mother's role as protector. Yes, some mothers fell short, but mostly, for the most part, mothers have been doing well in those first two categories. When we get to this third function of empowerment is where we see most mothers drop the ball, because a lot of women aren't feeling empowered. On top of that, men aren't empowering the feminine and inside them, and they're not empowering the women who birthed them, the women who they love and marry, right? And their daughters even. This is how the generational mother wound affects both genders. It affects societies over centuries. So I do hope that I gave you some food for thought on how to become your own empower. Once again, it's about boundaries. It's about being in control of yourself. It's about being able to rise up out the ashes, using the vulnerability and the crying, using rejection, things like that, using that to create something, and not just let it destroy you. Think. So many new beautiful things come from death, right? When a volcano erupts, doesn't the forest come back even more lush than ever? There is creation from destruction. Just you have to learn how to rise from it. As women, we are natural at this. This is natural for us. And men, honor the feminine within you. When you honor your divine feminine within you, you will naturally want to love and protect women the way that they should be. And return the favor, honestly, for how women has empowered men for centuries. Okay? Thank you guys for listening to me ramble a little bit. And I'll see you guys next week for the mother's role as initiator. Like, comment, subscribe, share these videos, please, because the mother wound isn't really talked about too much. So please do your best to share. And also on the next video, I should have some good news on a little treat for you guys that you guys can get that is associated with the mother wound topic, but it's a surprise until then. So I'll see you guys next week.